Welcome back, guys, to the Futbal Biz podcast. As always, I am Graysen Mortimer. He is Evan McGuire. Yeah, it's been way too long. My apologies there. I've been very busy. Hunter obviously has a job too, and Evan has a job as well. And Hunter hasn't been able to do an episode in, way longer than either of us. But since I've been busy, it's been
Ages. It's
yeah,
been
it's been
non-existent.
almost a month, man. Like the last one we did was October 26th, and it's November 24th. So a little bit of a gap there, but we are back. We've got a lot to talk about today. We got a big agenda, which includes the Ballon d'Or. Of course, that happened a few weeks ago, but we have to talk about it. The Everton point deduction, Brazil, Argentina, that whole fiasco, and then also the upcoming prediction for Man City, Liverpool. So please watch the full thing. We've got a lot in store today. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the Ballon d'Or first, as it is kind of old news at this point, but it just feels too important to not mention. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano kind of revealed the whole thing before the ceremony even happened, which is good journalism, but at the same time, kind
Yeah,
of
he's annoying for
irritating
that.
because it took away the surprise element. I mean,
Annoying.
I don't think there was
Yeah,
that much
really,
of a
really annoying.
it was a horrible. I don't think there was that much of a surprise to it. I think most people knew that Messi was going to win, even though he frankly didn't deserve it. But yeah, it was kind of an irritating fiasco. The fact that we knew that the winner was going to be Messi, but that's kind of the modern world of football that we live in, and you know the whole build up to it was kind of taken away from us.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Just these days when it comes to Fabrizio, I get he's doing his job. Like at some points, there's like you just can't not like spoil so much stuff. Because I remember like not even long ago, there was a time where like say like football transfers or like big football news, it was it happened in the moment, and that's what made some like it made us fans like very excited because it's like it's happening currently. But now like going into it with like the Ballon d'Or winner and like all the awards, it just kind of it takes the fun out of it, really, to say the least. Like it's like a spoiler for a movie, really. Or like say when you go and listen to new music and someone's like, "Oh my God, this song's fire," it has this feature and all that. It just takes away from the fun and all that, really, to like find out for yourself.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And you hit pretty much all the main points on that front. But that aside, we got to talk about the actual award because the actual
Yeah, we
award,
do.
I think, was ludicrous and puts way too much emphasis on the World Cup. And this isn't the first time that this has happened.
It,
I actually watched a video recently that basically said that 2002
no,
R9, despite how good he was, didn't deserve that one either. He was injured for most of that season, and he only won the Ballon d'Or
I
because
didn't.
of the World Cup. Like, I get the World Cup's a great tournament and all, and I'm not going to
Right.
discredit it because it is, as far as international tournaments go, it is the most prestigious. That being said, it's still 7 games if
Yeah.
you make the final. Like, you're putting 7 games
Mm-hmm.
above 50 in the regular season. That just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up
Right.
to me at all. And take away the World Cup. Messi doesn't win the Ballon d'Or. Holland deserves the Ballon. Holland wins the Ballon d'Or every day of the week. If Kevin De Bruyne didn't get hurt, I would say maybe him because he's as important to that City team as Holland was. But De Bruyne being out 4 months definitely didn't help his case. But I think
No.
bigger than Messi winning the Ballon d'Or was the goalkeeper award. Because you can say, okay, Messi maybe, did he have a good season? Yes, he did. But the goalkeeper award was
He
absolutely a
did.
farce. You're telling me that a guy who plays for
Right.
Aston Villa, and no discredit to Aston Villa, they're having a good season, is better than
Yeah, they're doing.
Allison, Ederson, Ter Stegen, uh, Courtois, like all of these keepers. You're telling me that Emi Martinez is better than all of them? No freaking chance that he is better
No.
than any of those guys.
No.
Like, come on.
No.
Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, that in a nutshell, him winning that award says how much emphasis put on the World Cup more than Messi. Because Martinez didn't win a single
Right.
trophy other than the World Cup. Ederson won 3.
Right.
Allison carried. I mean, he didn't win a trophy either this season, but Allison carried some abysmal Liverpool defenses. Like time and
He
time
really did.
again,
He did.
time and time again, saved Liverpool's ass. Like you'll know it better
He did.
than I will, but Ter Stegen won La Liga
Yep.
in a crippled Barcelona team
He did.
that has no money. Like,
Yep.
that should be credited for
He
something.
had
And
one
I'm
of
a
the more weaker
Madrid
sides.
fan saying that. Like, I wouldn't have been mad if he won
Right.
the award. Like, Courtois,
Mhm.
yes, he was hurt for a little bit, but he's easily one of the best out there. He won the award last year. And you know what? I'll even give Andre Onana a shout. Because outside of some poor Man United performances, he had a great season with Inter, made the Champions League
Yep.
final. Like,
Mhm.
Onana
Right.
deserved it more than
He did.
Martinez did. Martinez finished 7th last year, which, again, not going to discredit Villa that much because they are a good team. But the guy finished 7th. There were 6 goalkeepers that finished above him in the Premier League, one of which won a treble. Like, I don't get it. Like, I get that each country has a specific amount of votes. Each country votes on the award, but you can't tell me that Martinez is the best keeper in the world. He just isn't.
He's
Yeah.
not. He's
No.
not. I'd even like say as well, like Jan Sommer as well for like down for Bayern as well. Like he did a fair job.
Or
Well,
Kobel from
it was,
Dortmund.
I'd give.
Yeah. You cut out a little bit there. I think
What's
your
that?
Wi-Fi is a little unstable, but
Yeah.
yeah, but like Jan Sommer's a good shout. Gregor Kobel's a good shout. So there's plenty of guys that we could just, as we kind of think about it, list off that deserved it more than Emi Martinez. So yeah, I mean, I think Haaland should have won the Ballon d'Or. He got second. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There's only so much you can do about it. The award ceremony's done. You can complain it. We can complain here as much as we want to, but in the end of the day, it's not going to impact anything. But I think any true fan of football knows that Haaland. I mean, obviously Messi's the best. Arguably the best of all time. Is Messi better than Haaland? Yes.
Exactly.
Did Messi have a better season? No. That's what it's about. It's about who had the best season. Haaland had the best season. He scored over 50 goals. Call him a tap-in merchant. Call him this, call him that. Haaland, whatever. Did anyone else score 50 goals this season? No. I think that says all you need to say about it. Like, anyways, I rest my case. I think I've made it quite clear who I think should have won. But, we can move on from that. On to our next topic, which is Everton. Everton were deducted 10 points in the Premier League this season due to permanent financial breaches. They couldn't pay back the league. So typically the way it works is you're able to spend about 3 times as much as you earn, give or take. Everton had spent more than that, and they couldn't pay it back.
Correct.
And I'm talking about debt. So, money that they can't pay back immediately. That's what happened to them. Is it a little different than City's case? Yes, we're going to talk about them in a second, though. Overall, it's unfortunate that this happened to a team like Everton. Obviously, you're celebrating because you're a Liverpool fan, but but
I'm not exactly
you got to
celebrating.
think about it this way. Has this happened before? Yes, it happened, I believe, way back in the 90s to a different Premier League team. I can't think of who. But last season in the Championship, it happened to the likes of Derby County and Reading. And even this year in League One, it also happened to Reading again because they couldn't pay anything. And that's just poor ownership. Yeah. It frankly boils down to poor ownership. Mm-hmm. Everton are obviously building a new stadium. They're doing away with Goodison, but
they are.
But that's been the main reason for their spending. But that aside, Everton has made some horrific transfers. Like a lot of the guys that Everton has brought in have been just failures. And I think the biggest examples are Gylfi Sigurdsson, Davy Klaassen, and their center back. Yerry Mina. He didn't do that much either. But they've also spent big on some other guys. I mean, Richarlison came in. They obviously made a profit off him, but they made some bad transfers. And I mean, it's those types of things that have kind of caught up to them. That being said, they overspent. They couldn't pay it back. They got deducted 10 points. It's that easy.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't really say I'm particularly celebrating. Like, it still happened, but like, look, I think for this season, I think it was the best situation for them to update because if it was, they would have already been down. So they're looking to get away with it right now because they're actually on good form, and like even then, they're still somehow above Burnley. Like that's just how it is at the bottom. Like very, very, very poor teams right now, I'd say. So look, I take it on the chin if I was Everton right now because like I be able to stay up, especially with their run of form. That being said, it still is, I'd say, unfair that they're still being deducted 10 points just for one breach. So I'm just wondering how that's going to work now with the likes of Manchester City because they have 115 charges pending right now. So I'm wondering what the penalty could possibly be for them, like relegation all the way down to maybe say the likes of League One. Could they have a previous title stripped from them? Who knows? Who even knows if we'll get a result very soon? Like, honestly, at this point, it could be like 3 or 4 seasons down the road, depending on, how bad it could be. Because look at how long it already took to get that one Everton case out of the way. That was only one charge, and it took like what, 3 seasons to get this sorted? It's unreal.
Yeah. What does make the cases different is did both overspend? Yes, that's similar. But Everton failed to pay back debt. City never had debt. So it's going to be a bit of a different case in the courts. That being said, yeah, it's 115. You can't ignore that. Do I think previous titles would be stripped? No, I think the titles would stay. I don't think that would change anything. Um, because that would basically make the careers of guys like Ilkay Gundogan, who I absolutely cherish. I have his signed jersey right behind me, right here. That would make the careers of guys like him completely meaningless, which I don't think that's fair to those guys. Because it wasn't anything they did. It was entirely the front office and the managers. Um, but as I said in the past, I don't think it's going to be that major. At most, they get sent down to the championship, and that's me changing my tune on my earlier opinion on this because I originally said at most it would be a transfer ban or a small point deduction or
Absolutely not.
or something like that. I think it'll be more than that now. With this point, with Everton, I think Everton basically says, okay, the league is definitely taking this seriously, but still, you think about all the revenue City generate compared to Everton for the Prem. That's going to be taken into account.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be hard for the Prem to do something. I think personally, I don't think anything will happen to them this season. Next season, I anticipate that they start the season with negative 30 points. That's what I think happens. And I know it's light.
That'd be insane.
I personally like my opinion, I think they should go down. If they're found guilty of all that, like that hurts me. Like I've supported City for a long time. And like I'm saying that they should get relegated. Like that's the reality is yeah, if you committed fraud, you should get punished for it. I don't think they will. I'm thinking about the bias that the Prem has towards them because there is a Prem bias.
Yeah, they do.
They do. They
They do.
absolutely do. I'm not going to say they don't. If they didn't, Rodri would have been penalized for that handball against Everton, and Liverpool would have won the league that season.
Probably would have probably had a quad there if that was the case.
I think they should go down to the championship, and I think
But
there's a lot of guys that would leave if they did. The likes of Holland wouldn't stay. There's no way. But I think the likes of I think De Bruyne would stay. I think Foden would stay. Ederson for some reason. I mean, kind of sharing the opinion with the Irish guy on that one, but Ruben Diaz might stay. Kyle Walker, I think, would stay. Vardiol, I think, would leave. Rodri would probably go. I think he'd easily go to a different team. Grealish would probably leave because it's
I'd say
Grealish.
leave. I'm not gonna lie.
Who do you?
I'd
Oh,
say
sorry, I
all those
missed that.
guys that actually leave. Like,
No, there'd be a few that would
no,
stay.
I
You'd
think
get
all
a
of them would leave.
no, you'd get a Juventus situation. Because even Juve had some guys stay. Pablo Nedved stayed in that Juve team. Like a Ballon d'Or winner
Mm.
stayed in that team. But Gianluigi Buffon could have easily gone to a different team. He just won the World Cup. He stayed. Um, uh, Juventus legend Del Piero, he stayed. Like, despite them getting relegated, they had guys that stayed. Um, Now we'll see what happens with City, but it doesn't look good for
Mm,
City at all. Chelsea, I think, will have some trouble as
no,
well. They could go down together. Chelsea,
they will.
whatever they did, well,
It'll
not
be
whatever
great.
they did. Chelsea made theirs obvious, and I think that's the difference between the two. Is that City have done a good job at generally hiding whatever they did. Chelsea, they've spent £1 billion as in clear daylight as you can. So
They
yeah,
did.
we'll see what happens.
No, I agree. Who knows? This will undertake really, but again, like you said, like the bias. Who even knows what the charges will be? Will they just give them a slap on the wrist just because they are Big Six club? Unlike Everton, they're like old news, so they're not gonna get as much favorability because like really at this point, Everton are just they're just there in the league. Really, they
They've
just
been
take
a
up one
straggler
slot in the
for
league. They don't
several
really
seasons.
make much noise. Yeah,
Yeah,
like the best that they've had was like during lockdown when they had Ancelotti. Like they acted like they won a trophy when they beat us at Anfield. Like that's their highlight. And like this, like
yeah. I mean, they had some highs. I mean, that Roberto Martinez had them finish fifth, which how that happened, I still don't know. But um, the reality is I think the Big Six definitely have special privileges. If United did this, there's no way they'd relegate them. If Liverpool did this, I don't think they'd relegate Liverpool. Um, I don't think they'd
no,
relegate
they
Tottenham
definitely
or
relegate
Arsenal.
us. They definitely relegate us.
No, I don't think so.
They
I don't
would
think so.
so
I
relegate
think the
us.
Big Six,
No, they hate us, man.
because of the Big Six, and
Oh
the
man,
amount
it
of
still
money
be the
that they
big five.
generate, I think that I think they keep all of them. I think all of them stay up. I genuinely do not think City's going to
Scout
get sent
agenda.
down. They should. They should
Well,
again. They
there
should.
is the agenda on us sometimes.
If whatever it is though, if you over, I don't think they would have relegated you guys. But we can talk about that at a different time. But I think we've said everything that we need to say for this one. We'll move on to our next subject, which did happen pretty recently a few days ago. Brazil against Argentina, obviously one of the fiercest derbies in South American football. One that always is
Oh,
fiery. Yeah. This one, unfortunately, they did go overboard. The Brazilian police there was videos of them literally beating Argentina fans. You can't do that. Like, I'm sorry. I get that
no.
there's a certain level of hostility, but when it turns to literally like guys bleeding down the face and getting beaten to almost death, like yeah, I'm sorry, no, that's horrific. There were players that had families in these audiences, and when that sort of thing happens,
They
it's
did.
like you take it too far. It's beyond the game at that point. It's something that shouldn't be part of the game. And I think having security is definitely important. I mean, you need the police to be there, but when they're literally taking sticks and beating Argentina fans with it, like with guys like with scared expressions crying, like at that point they know. Like I think you've made your point clear at that point. That the fact that these guys are like crying, they probably wanted to leave. Like I I I just don't get it, and it's a really unfortunate situation.
No, I agree. I only watched like a bit of it, but like just seeing some of that unfold, that was that was something that like would be from a different time in football. Usually nowadays, you don't really see a lot of that happening now, but to see it happen now, it's insane to me. And even then, like just watching the whole Argentina team go back in the locker room, it's unfortunate that we still have this kind of hooliganism going on in today's game. But I mean, some people, they think football is it's their whole lifestyle, right? So I can understand with like down in South America, like they very, very seriously. To take it that far overboard, where people could have possibly been, it's not acceptable in any way.
No, and yeah, unfortunately, you got a little bit of there again, but I got the gist of what you were saying. Yeah, I mean, you can't if someone's like life is at risk, like I'm sorry, that's taking it too far. Like football is a game that should be loved by everybody. Obviously, rivalries are great, and we have some of the best rivalries in our sport. The likes of El Clasico, Brazil Argentina is definitely up there. River Plate Boca Juniors, like those are all, and the Manchester Derby as well. Those are all huge, huge
Liverpool
games,
United.
and yeah, Liverpool United is another one. There's we could go on. Madrid Derby. We could keep going on about some of the best rivalries in the world are in our sport, but when they're taken to that level of almost like a physical violence and almost beating fans to death, like that's too much. And the Brazilian police should absolutely be punished in some way, whether it's by Brazil or by FIFA or by like obviously I don't know how much FIFA would be able to do about that, but like it's unacceptable. Argentina thankfully did win the game. I was actually rooting for them in that because of this. They beat Brazil for the first time. Brazil hadn't lost at home uh in qualifying. Was it ever? It was like one of their first losses, but at home. And yeah, in the end of the day, Argentina at least won the game. Brazil's team is a bit in turmoil. They're not as good as they were. They lost to Venezuela a couple international breaks ago. Yeah, they're not good, but that aside, I mean, it's just you never want to see this in football. You never want to see fans getting beat or any of that. To the point where players from Argentina were crying. Um, so it's
I mean,
unfortunate. It's something that I hope I never see again, and it's something that really needs to be addressed.
oh, of course, definitely. Who knows where we'll go from here, especially because I don't know. Like I said, South America, they're on a different, really, how much they take their football seriously. But I mean, I really hope it doesn't have to go to the point where they go okay route, after like, back all that's down, especially after Hill's backlash behind that and everything. I hope it doesn't get to that point. I hope there's just, some way to, just have better security, I guess, in a way, and just I guess have better fan segregation.
Yeah, I think that's the other way you can do it is better fan segregation. You have to put. I mean, in England they do it really well. I think because of Hillsborough, they line up security both sides just to make sure that nothing happens. I went to a North London derby. Those fans were getting pretty hostile. I was right. I was in the Tottenham section, right near the Arsenal fans, and yeah, they were going back and forth. If that security line wasn't there, God knows what would have happened. Um, and yeah, England does it really well at this point, and I'm glad that they do. But yeah, it's something that we don't want to see. I hope that they're able to figure it out in one way or another. I think fan segregation is the way you do it. Um, and this is probably the only time I'll advocate for segregation of any kind. But yeah, you got to divide the fans up. You have to. It's that simple. With the way that football can be and the way that any sport can be for that matter. Uh, the fans can get hostile and things can get bad really fast. And this was something that we saw in Brazil, and it's something that
Yeah.
I hope I don't see again. As I've stated, I think we can move on from this. I hope that the international break was good for everyone. I am ready for Prem, but we're gonna do one more story and then finish with the Prem
So,
segment today. So our next two things that we're going to talk about before that Prem segment are the USA and Canada, respectively, in the Nations League. I'll talk about Canada first. I don't think I've ever been so disappointed in my life. We played Jamaica. Now Jamaica's a decent team. They have some good quality players, especially some prem guys, with the likes of Demarai Gray, who
Yep.
obviously plays in Saudi now. But Demarai Gray, Mikhail Antonio, Leon Bailey, Bobby Dickert-Reed, among others. And a solid MLS veteran, Andre Blake at goal is a phenomenal keeper. Jamaica lost their home game in this tie 2-1 to Canada. Canada won the away leg. They did the difficult part. And then they go back to Canada in the freezing cold, which is what Canada's known for, what we should be, the most comfortable in. We lose 3-2. Jamaica wins on away goals. We have to play a one-game plan against Trinidad and Tobago. And yeah, I am quite disappointed. I think Canada needs to find a permanent coach. They need one fast because Biello is not the answer. And yeah, it's not looking good for the likes of Alfonso Davies and co.
No, no, you're right, for sure.
Cool. And yeah, it's not good. It's one thing that we just don't want to see. But yeah, Canada's playing a one game play in Dallas in March. I actually might end up going to that. We'll see. I got to plan the trip. Got to get the tickets first, of course. But yeah, it's one thing that they're up against it now. They have to win the plan. And Trinidad and Tobago played the USA. And the USA won the first game 3-0. Pretty well, not comfortable because they didn't score till the 80th minute, but they scored 3 goals after 80. They win that convincingly after the fact. But then they go to Trinidad and Tobago, and
It's a win.
a win is a win. But then they go to Trinidad and Tobago and absolutely just crash and burn. I mean, if they didn't score 3, they would have been screwed. If it was 1-0, Trinidad and Tobago would have almost scraped through. They would have had to obviously win 2-0 because of away goals. But yeah, not a good result for the U.S. and Trinidad. They lost 2-1 again. They did this in 2017 for the World Cup qualifying. One of the most embarrassing moments for U.S. soccer. But they got it done. But Serginho Dest, man, we got to talk about Serginho Dest. What an idiot. I mean, he did one of the most boneheaded things that you could do. The guy turned into prime Humpty Dumpty. Like, his head turned into an egg. Like, because there was literally a yolk, like, going around in there. Nothing was happening. Like, to put it into perspective, what he did was he gets a yellow card, and then he taunts the ref. He starts blowing kisses at him. Who does that?
Outrage.
Like, he was asking to get himself sent off.
Oh, God.
Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? He cost his team the game. I mean, he didn't cost them the series, but yeah, I don't think he's going to get called up for a little bit.
Probably not. Very, very going to be very hard discipline, I'd say.
Yeah, like he's already burned his bridges at Barcelona, so I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, he thinks he's more talented than he actually is. I mean, he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but it's bad. I mean, that was and he's been sent off for the USA before. This isn't the first time, so yeah. The problem is the USA doesn't have a lot of right back depth, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it was stupid. It was so incredibly stupid. I just don't get it. We haven't brought back the Idiot of the Week segment in a while, but Serginho Dest.
Yeah, we need to do that again.
Yeah, we can do it right now. Serginho Dest is my Idiot of the Week. He was so dumb.
I'm with you on that.
Like, it was horrific, man. We can do Hero and we can do Hero after, but yeah, well, that's all I really need to say about the USA. I mean, they got to fire Greg Berhalter too, but that is what it is. We'll move on to our final thing, which is Man City versus Liverpool tomorrow. Our two teams, respectively, in the Prem. This is going to be a tough one. It is the early game. We talked about this a little bit beforehand, but it is the early game. Liverpool traditionally doesn't do great in the early game. They are at the Etihad, where Man City is, frankly, I mean, they're borderline unstoppable.
Which is worse, yeah.
Venue. Anfield and the
Mhm.
Etihad are probably the two best venues for home teams. But yeah, it's
That is true.
absolutely. I think that this game is going to go 2-1 to City. It's going to be a hard fought game. I think Holland gets at least one, and I'm going to say, I'll go with Mr. Clutch himself. I'll go with Rodri gets the other one. I think Mo Salah gets a goal for Liverpool. If not him, Darwin Nunez has been in good form. But hey, here's the thing: Nunez only scores bangers, so it'll be about 30 yards out, and then he'll find a way to miss a sitter. Um, yeah, I think it'll be 2-1 to City. Obviously, I'm going to back my team, but it's going to be a hard fought game. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. We're going to get a good old fashioned Pep Klopp, tussle.
I'm gonna go for 2-2. 2-2. Like I'd say, like obviously, um, it's like you said, it's an early kickoff. I don't expect us to get a win. I'll be fine if we get a draw. Just get like something, because we still have that Anfield game back pocket anyway. So if we can just get a draw and just stay 1 point behind City, I'm totally fine with. What do I want to score the goals? I back maybe Salah and then Szoboszlai to get 2 goals. I'd say. If I had to pick who would get the goals, probably Haaland, maybe Rodri.
Cool. Yeah, I definitely think that can happen. And I'm going to give a shout out to JSM on YouTube. He did a video with a Liverpool fan. They did a combined 11. I actually thought it was pretty good. Um, they were both pretty unbiased for that. So definitely check that out. But yeah, I think that it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a hard fought match. Could be a draw. I hope it's a win for City, of course. But um, if it's a blowout, I will be surprised. I kind of, obviously that would be lovely, but I don't. Liverpool doesn't usually get
I
blown out.
doubt it.
No, that doesn't happen. City doesn't get blown out either. The last time that both teams really got blown out was actually on the same day. Liverpool losing 7-2 to Aston Villa, City losing 5-2 to Leicester City. Those are the last times that really happened to either team.
Mm.
So I think it'll be a hard fought match. Good win for City, but we shall see. We shall see what happens in that regard. But that being said, we'll do our quick hero of the week. We did our idiot. We had Serginho Dest for both of it, for both of us. My hero, despite the fact that Canada lost, I got to go with Stefan Eustáquio. He did score the winner in Jamaica. He almost brought us to the Copa America. Unfortunately, we just came up short in Canada. It was quite unfortunate, but Eustáquio's been a absolute monster for us. He's been a monster for Porto in the Portuguese league. So I got to go with him.
Uh, for me, I'm gonna have to go Luis Diaz, especially that game against Brazil. The game after he finally got his dad back, scoring 2 goals against Brazil to win. Unreal. Just heroic right there.
That is a very fair shout. We actually didn't really talk about that, but very happy for the family of Luis Diaz. I'm glad he got his dad back. It was a very scary case. I can only imagine what he was going through. And the fact that he was able to one, his dad was able to get freed, and then two, Diaz able to score twice against Brazil. That's absolutely massive. I mean, that's huge. Definitely happy for him. Very, very fair shout for Hero of the Week. Well, that will do it from us this week. We're finally back. Hopefully, we can make an episode in at least a couple weeks, not a month again. But yeah, that'll do it for
Yeah.
us. As always, we talked about some big stories. The Ballon d'Or, potential points deduction for City. Everton did get points deducted from them. We talked about Brazil, Argentina, USA, and Canada, as well as Man City, Liverpool coming to you tomorrow. As always, I am Grayson Mortimer.
I'm Evan McGuire.
And we will see you next time